Parents, when did you instantly regret trusting your child's friend? Alright, buckle up because this might be one of the wildest, darkest rides I've ever been on as a parent. So I always tried to be a cool mom. Let my son Jason, have some freedom, trust his judgment about friends. I figured you want to learn your lesson the hard way sometimes, right? Well, I never thought I'd regret it this hard. Jason was 16 when he started hanging out with this guy, Kyle. At first, Kyle seemed harmless enough, kind of quiet, a little edgy, wore those heavy boots and black hoodie kind of 16-year-old look. I thought, okay, he's a little weird, but fine. Jason was closing in on the end of his freshman year, and Kyle was his ride or die, or so my son said. They played video games, skateboarded, typical dumb teen stuff. But then I started noticing weird stuff. Kyle would come over late at night, way past curfew, and sometimes he'd be with a sketchy-looking crew, the kind of people who looked like they'd steal your car for kicks. One night, Kyle stayed over at our place without asking. When I questioned Jason about it, he froze and said, "He just needed a place to crash, Mom. Please don't make a big deal." Okay, red flag number 1, teen homelessness? Maybe, but I wasn't convinced. Then the real nightmare began. One night, I came home early from my second job trying to keep the house afloat, thanks to Jason's dad being a deadbeat. I walked in and smelled that sharp, unmistakable funk of weed and chemicals. I followed it upstairs, and there was Kyle sitting on the floor with a backpack full of small baggies of powders and little pipes. He was smoking meth at my house. I just about lost it, screaming at Jason to explain himself. Turns out Kyle was running a little drug operation out of our house. Apparently Jason got roped into helping all that naive teenager nonsense where you think you're invincible and your dealer is just a friend. I was devastated and furious. But the absolute worst was yet to come. I had no idea that Kyle was also manipulating Jason into going to parties where the kids were doing way harder stuff. I found texts where Kyle was basically pimping Jason out to older guys, and not just randoms, but guys who stayed around the neighborhood, some of them with criminal records for assault and worse. I lost my mind. One night, after a particularly ugly argument, Jason finally admitted that Kyle blackmailed him. He'd filmed stuff videos and pictures stuff Jason never wanted anyone to see. Kyle threatened to leak it to the whole school and worse. Told Jason he'd tell my employer I work in a small town, and rumors spread fast if he didn't keep doing what Kyle wanted. I felt powerless. I wanted to protect my son, but was crushed by the weight of everything. Here's where I served some cold revenge, though. Instead of calling the cops immediately, I did some digging. Turns out, Kyle wasn't just a junkie dealer. He was part of this local gang dealing drugs and trafficking kids. I spent nights talking to other parents, digging through shady online forums in this small-town gossip echo chamber, and got solid intel on his entire operation. One week, I caught Kyle trying to move a new batch of drugs through my neighbor's porch. I called one of my old contacts, a guy I knew from my past. Less than savory but loyal, and met him now. Next thing I knew, the cops raided Kyle's stash house, and the gang he was working with got busted hard. But it gets better. Kyle lost everything: his stash, his friends, and worst of all, his phone. And in that phone, I made sure the police found all our texts, videos, and photographic evidence of what he did to my son and others. The night before the bust, I left a note on Kyle's car anonymous letting him know, karma waits. Jason has been in therapy ever since, but at least he's out of that hell. He's not walking free, and won't be for a long, long time. I regret trusting my son's friend more than I can say, but watching that slime finally get his due, knowing I helped break the cycle, it was worth every sleepless night. So yeah, parents, trust your gut, double-check the friends, and never let the darkness win. Because sometimes the monsters are closer than you think.